Good day everyone! Welcome back to another week of learning. This is me again, your Mom Shay, your guide in learning Mathematics 9. We are now on our week 7 for our quarter 1, so prepare yourselves for another fruitful session. But before we begin our lesson, please consider subscribing in this channel, click the like button, and hit the notification bell for more weekly updates. The most essential learning competency for this session is to graph a quadratic function. Its domain, range, intercept, axis of symmetry, its vertex, and the direction of the opening of the parabola. Are you ready? Set up your WHLP, your module, your paper and pen as we are about to begin our lesson for today. Tara! Halina at tayo ay matuto!
Let us now talk about the graph of the quadratic function. So we all know that the graph of the quadratic function f of x or y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c is called parabola. So for this lesson, we will be talking about the different parts or the different concepts or terms related with parabola. Let us now begin with the opening of the parabola. So you have noticed, if you notice that in a parabola or in a quadratic function, the parabola may opens upward, just like this, or it may also opens downward. Okay, when can we say that the quadratic function will opens upward? Okay, so that is if a is greater than 0. When a is greater than 0, then the graph opens upward. And when is it going downward? Okay, so the graph of the parabola opens downward if a is less than 0. Then the graph opens downward. So ano ba yung tinatawag nating a? Saan ba natin matatagpuan yun? Okay, so yun po yung numerical coefficient sa ating quadratic function, which is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Kung ano po yung value ng a, that determines the opening of the parabola. Meaning, if it is positive or positive number yung a natin, then therefore we can conclude that the graph opens upward. And if the value of a is a negative number, then we can conclude that the opening of the parabola opens downward. Let us now talk about the vertex. The vertex in our graph lies here. So, if you notice, this first graph lies in -2, -4 sa ating third quadrant. While our second graph lies in 0, +5 or dito sa ating y-axis. Here, the vertex is also called the turning point of the graph. So, bakit siya tinawag na turning point? So, if you notice, di ba nandito siya? If you notice in our graph, di ba tingnan niyo yung ating graph. If you notice, upon reaching the vertex, it turns, di ba? It turns upward. While dito sa ating graph, the downward, if you notice, from here up to the vertex, it turns downward naman. So that is why the vertex is the turning point of the graph. Okay? So again, the turning point of the graph is the vertex. And also, we can say that it is either the lowest point or the highest point of the graph, or the minimum or the maximum point of the graph. When we say minimum, if you notice in our graph, here, if our graph opens upward, kapag pataas po pataas ang ating graph, the vertex is in its minimum point. So if you notice, in our graph, all the points lie here sa ating graph. Kung nasa saan po yung ating mismong curve line or smooth curve, nandoon po lahat ng points. Nandito ang points, 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 lahat yan points. Ano? And if you notice, from all the points of our graph, ang ating vertex is the minimum or pinaka-lowest point sa ating graph. So this is when the graph opens upward. Or kailan ba nag-opens upward? If A is positive, right? And if our graph opens downward, meaning to say, the vertex is, nasa minimum pa ba siya? Okay, wala na. Kasi, the vertex is in its maximum point. Siya yung pinakamataas na point, if you notice, tama? Nandito lahat ng points. So, sino yung pinakamay mataas na points? That is the vertex. Okay? So, if the graph opens downward, the vertex is in its maximum point. Or, we can say that, if A is greater than 0, if A daw ay mas malaki sa 0, or if A is a positive number, the parabola has minimum point, or nasa lowest point kapag positive number. But, if A is less than 0, or if A is a negative number, then the parabola has maximum point or nasa highest point yung ating graph. Okay, did you get it? So by the way, ang A po natin, that stands for the numerical coefficient of the quadratic term sa ating quadratic function. Diba? Naalala nyo ba? This is equal to y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, wherein ang A natin ay nasa quadratic term which is ax squared. So, kung ano yung value ng A, that determines if it opens upward or it opens downward. If our A is negative, therefore, it opens downward. And if A is positive, then it opens upward. And if it opens upward, meaning it has, or the vertex is the minimum point. And if it opens downward, then the vertex is the maximum point. Did you get it? Also take note that if the quadratic function is expressed in the form of y is equal to a times x minus h quantity squared plus k, the vertex is the point hk. Okay, tatandaan nyo yun ha. The vertex is the point hk. So dito yon. Asan yung h? This one. How about the k? Okay, ito po yon. H K. So these are the vertex, or this is the vertex HK, okay? So let us have this example. Suppose that our given is y is equal to 3 times x minus 2 quantity squared plus 4. So it is written in the form y is equal to a times x minus h quantity squared plus k. So which is, or can we already identify the vertex? Yes po, since it is written in the vertex form, kaya nga siya tinawag the vertex form, we can say that the vertex is equal to hk. So therefore, substitute lang natin. Which is the h? Alright, ito po yung h. How about the k? Ayan, ito yung k natin. So therefore, your vertex is equal to 2 and 4. Ma'am, bakit hindi negative? Okay, take note dun sa ating vertex form. Sadya pong negative yung ating operation. So, you just need to copy the value of h. Okay? Ang h natin is 2. Alright? Next. So, this is the vertex. So, alam nyo na yung vertex. So, let's try another. If the given is y is equal to 2 times x plus 1 quantity squared plus 5. Let us determine the vertex. So, here, this is the h and this is the k. So, ang h natin is positive 1 dyan. So, if you notice, hindi siya, kasi di ba yung ating quadratic, yung ating vertex form is, it should be a times x minus h. Dapat minus. Pero in this case, it is positive. So, nasan dyan yung minus? So, di ba we all know naman that yung minus dito, if our h is a negative, kunyari ito yung negative 1, negative times negative is positive. So, therefore, our value of h here is negative 1. Alright? And then, k is 5. Nakuha? Okay. But how about if the quadratic function is expressed in the general form? So ano ba yung general form natin? Ito yan, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So the vertex hk can be obtained using the formulas kasi dito hindi naka-specify kung alin yung h, alin yung k. So di ba? So in this case, we will use a formula. The formula in finding the h is equal to negative b over 2a. While in finding k, that is equal to 4ac minus b squared all over 4a. So let's have this illustration. In the given y is equal to x squared minus 6x minus 6, we will apply this formula in finding the vertex. So here, hanapin natin ang value ng a, b, and c. A is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 6, and c is equal to negative negative 6. Alright, so A is 1, B is negative 6, and C is negative 6. Now, in finding the value of H, substitute lang natin. H is equal to negative B over 2A. So, therefore, that is negative. Ano ba yung value ng B natin? Negative 6. Kaya po, negative times negative 6. Again, yung negative natin ay sadya nang nandoon. Whether our B is positive or negative. Okay? Kaya po, negative times negative 6 all over 2 times, what is the value of A? That is 1. Now, simplify lang natin. Negative times negative, that is positive 6. And 2 times 1 is 2. Now, 6 divided by 2, that is equal to 3. So, therefore, your H is 3. How about your value of K? Value of K, again, substitute in our formula for AC minus B squared all over 4A. So, we have 4 times. A is 1. C is negative 6. Ayan. Then minus B is negative 6 quantity squared. All over 4 times A is 1. Now, simplify natin. 4 times 1 times negative 6, that is negative 24. Ito, pinag-times natin. 4 times 1 is 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. And then, minus negative 6 times negative 6, since ito ay squared, that is equal to 36. So, all over 4 times 1 is 4. And negative 24 minus 36, so same sign yan. So you just need to add and then copy the sign. So negative, we have 24 plus 36, that is equal to 60. Negative 60 divided by 4, that is equal to negative 15. So therefore, your H is 3, your K is negative 15. Therefore, the vertex is very good. The vertex is 3, negative 15. So we already know the opening of the parabola, which can be upward or downward, as well as the vertex. Now, let us proceed with the axis of symmetry. So ano naman tong axis of symmetry? Axis of symmetry is an imaginary line that divides the graph into 2 equal parts such that one half of the graph is a reflection of the other half. So ibig sabihin, imaginary line lang to na dinidivide yung graph into 2 equal parts. Kaya nga siya symmetry. So, it should be symmetrical. The 2 parts, after ma-divide, should be symmetrical. So, that is look like this. Ayan, na kapag finold natin, it should be equal or reflection lamang. Parehas na parehas ng itsura. Ano? Now, in our graph, the axis of symmetry lies, nandito ba? Paganyan ba? Okay, no. Kasi pag paganyan, di ba, hindi naman siya symmetrical. So, it is a vertical line. It is a vertical line that, saan siya nagpa-pass through, if you notice? Correct. Very good. If you notice, it passes through the vertex. Kasi, di ba, yung vertex naman talaga yung pinaka-center natin or center point or the middle point. So, therefore, doon din magpa-pass through yung ating axis of symmetry. Ayan. So, here, dito sa ating second graph, it lies here. So, dito, since nandito yung vertex, dito siya mismo sa ating y-axis. Alright? Now, since this is the axis of symmetry, ayan, axis of symmetry yung dalawa na yan. We can also determine the equation of the line of the axis of symmetry. So, di ba, napapag-aralan naman natin how to find the equation of the line. Napag-aralan na rin natin yan during your grade 8, or previous grade. So, equation of the line, kung saan yung line natin ay pwede natin makuha yung equation. Equation of the line of the axis of symmetry is, or can be determined by x is equal to h. So, ito po yung formula niya. X is equal to h, wherein h is the x-coordinate of our vertex, diba? So, x is equals to hy. Kasi diba, if you notice, there's a vertical line that passes through the x-axis. Diba ito yung x-axis natin? Ito yung x-axis natin. So, doon siya nagpa-pass through. Alright? Ayan, oh. So, kung saan po tumapat yung ating h, ang h natin is the x-coordinate of our vertex. So, therefore, since this is the HK, so therefore, our equation of the line is correct. That is x is equal to negative 2. Okay? So, ito yung h natin. X is equal to h. Ang h natin is negative 2. If you notice, di ba? Doon siya nag-pass through sa negative 2 ng x-axis natin. So, that is the axis or the equation of the line of our axis of symmetry. Another thing that we need to know is the domain. So, how can we determine the domain of our quadratic function? So, class, the domain is the set of all values for which the function is defined. Or, if you remember during your previous grade, it is or the set of x-coordinates. Ano na ba yung mga x-coordinates natin dito? So, if you notice, ang ating mga x-coordinates will lie in our x-axis. So, narito pa siya. Kung alin daw yung masasakop ng ating graph na to, ng ating parabola, that is the set of our domain. So, ano ba yung mga sakop na x values natin or x coordinates natin na sakop ng ating graph? Dito ba siya sa negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0? Sakop ba siya? Yes po, sakop. How about positive 1? How about negative 5? Sakop pa rin ba siya? Yes, sakop pa rin to, diba? If you notice dito sa ating graph, diba, hanggang dito siya, yan. So, sakop pa rin po si positive 1. Si negative 5, sakop pa rin po yan. How about positive 2? Sakop pa ba? How about negative 6? Sakop pa ba? Okay, so titingnan nyo, ma'am, hindi na po. Kasi nasa labas na po siya ng ating graph. No. Okay, no. The answer is no. Why? Kasi po yung ating graph, ang ating graph po or the parabola ay ganito po laging itsura niya. Okay? Hindi ko lang nailagay natin dito sa ating representation. Ang graph natin has arrow lines, so which means that it is extended. Extended yan hanggang pataas ng pataas ng pataas. So, ibig sabihin, kung extended yan, pataas ng pataas, meaning to say, yung values ng yung values ng x natin, which are 2, yan, sakop siya. How about 3? Sakop din. 4, 5, 6, how about 7? Sakop pa ba? Yes po, kasi extended pa rin yan. Extended pa rin yan hanggang 1 to sawa. No? So, ganun din dito sa ating left side. Sa mga negative natin, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, and so on and so forth. So, meaning to say, the set of our domain is, or the domain of the quadratic function is the set of all real numbers. Lahat ng real numbers ay sakop ng ating x-axis. So, therefore, the domain of the quadratic function is always, wala nang katanungan, is always the set of all real numbers. Laging po yan ang sagot. Kasi, hindi wala naman po tayong parabola na ganito Diba? Na pahalang. Lagi siyang, dalawa lang naman ang opening niya. It could open upward or downward. So, hindi naman siya nagaganito. So, ibig sabihin, lagi iyang ang x-axis ay masasakop ng ating graph or graph ng quadratic function. So therefore, the domain is always the set of all real numbers. Okay? If we have the domain, of course, we should also have the range. The range of the quadratic function is the set of all values that f takes or our function takes, or it is also the set of y coordinates. Set of y coordinates. So meaning, lahat po ng y coordinates sa sakop ng ating graph. Sa palagay nyo, lahat ba na, if this is the y coordinate or y-axis, lahat ito y-axis yan. Ano? So they are both extended in both direction. Now, lahat ba ay sakop ng ating graph? What do you think? Kagaya ba siya ng ating x-axis? Okay, hindi po. Why? Sa palagay nyo, hanggang saan lamang? Itong negative 4, so di ba ito yung graph? Dito nagsimula yung ating graph sa ating vertex. So negative 4, sakop ba? Yes. How about negative 3? Sakop ba? Ating graph? Yes. Negative 2? Negative 1? How about 0? How about 1? Okay, sakop po yan. How about 6? Sakop din yan. How about 7? Of course, sakop din yan since it is extended, di ba? Nag-extend naman yan. Now, ibig sabihin, lahat ng ito pataas ay sakop niya. How about dito, after nung vertex natin, which is, or yung below ng ating vertex, which are negative 5, negative 6, negative 7. Yung negative 5, sakop ba ng ating graph? Or is it possible na maging sakop ng ating graph? Okay, hindi po. Diba? Kasi imposible kasi hindi naman liligo yung ating graph. Ano? Or hindi naman siya baba. So therefore, dito lang siya nagsisimula. Ibig sabihin, merong restriction sa ating range. Hindi kagaya ng domain natin that all set of real numbers are all domain. But here in our range, we can say that the range of the quadratic function depends on whether the parabola opens upward or downward. Let us see if it opens upward since kagaya ng ating given illustration. If it opens upward, then we can write or we can determine our range as the set of y, all values of y such that y is greater than or equal to k. Alin yung k natin? K is the value of our k in our vertex or the y coordinates, and that is negative 4. So dito siya, simula, sabi dyan, greater than, mas malaki or equal. Tama ba? Lahat ba ng negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and up to so on, lahat ba yan ay greater than or equal to k? Yes, that is correct. Ano, hindi pwedeng less than kasi yung less than bababa yan. So lahat po iyan ay sakop ng ating range or ng ating graph. So therefore, we can represent the range as ganito. Set of values of y such that y is greater than or equal to k. Okay? So dito, ang ating range is y is equal to, or set of y such that y is greater than or equal to negative 4. Correct? So that's it. Ito po yung ating range. Kapag hinanap ang range, ito po yung ating isasagot. Okay? So depende if it opens upward or if it opens downward. But how about if our graph opens downward? Just like this graph. So here, it is, since ito, saan ba siya, alin yung sakop niyang values ng ating y? Okay, sa lahat ng, magsisimula tayo sa vertex, which is, ayan, ito, yung y value natin is 5. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you notice, lahat ng values ng y ay pataas or pababa? Okay, baba po. Ano? And 6 is not included anymore. 6, 7, 8, and so on, hindi na siya included. So, therefore, the range is represented as the set of y values such that y is less than or equal to k. Pababa siya, oh. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng less than the value of k, which is positive 5. So, therefore, here, in our parabola, or in our graph, the range is equal to set of y such that y is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so yan po yung ating isasagot if we are looking for the range. Alright? It is also important to know the x-intercepts of our quadratic function. So, ang x-intercept po, that is determined by setting y is equal to 0, then solving for x. So, diba, ganyan naman yung ginagawa natin if we are looking for the x-intercept. Naalala nyo ba during your previous grade? So, again, that is determined by setting y is equal to 0. And, if you're given a graph, madali lang natin yan makikita if sakto yung ating intersection ng ating graph sa ating x-axis. So, di ba ito yung ating x-axis? So, here, if y is equal to 0, ibig sabihin yung y-coordinate is equal to 0. Y-coordinate is equal to 0. So, therefore, ito yan. So, di ba, ang ating point here, kung saan siya nag-intersect dito sa ating x-axis is, that is negative 4, 0. Tama ba? So, here, in this case, y-coordinate is equal to 0. If y is equal to 0, so therefore, that is already the x-intercept. So, here, the x-intercept is negative 4. So, dito, ganun din. Di ba? In this point, this lies in 0, 0. So, therefore, 0 yung y natin. So, ang x-intercept natin is, yes, is 0. So, therefore, the x-intercepts of the graph are negative 4, 0. Again, ulitin ko, to find the x-intercept, that is if y is equal to 0. Kapag ang y natin ay equal to 0, so therefore, that is the x-intercept. But how about if our given is not a graph, but instead it is a function? Just like in the function y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So here, if we have two distinct x-intercepts, so meron daw tayong dalawang x-intercepts if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. Naalala nyo ba yung b squared minus 4ac? Ano nga ito? Ano nga ang concept to? Alright, very good. So that is the discriminant. If the discriminant though is greater than 0, so therefore, we can arrive on two distinct x-intercept. But, we only have one x-intercept if our discriminant is equal to 0. Kapag equal to 0 discriminant, we only have one x-intercept. And we have no x-intercept if the discriminant is less than 0. Tandaan nyo yan mahalaga na malaman natin yan. Let us have these illustrative examples. Here in our given, y is equal to 2x squared. So what are the x-intercept? Here, so let us y is equal to 0. I-set natin that y is equal to 0. That is to find the x-intercept. If y is equal to 0, then ito, instead of writing y, gagawin natin siya 0. So that will be equal to 0 is equal to 2x squared. If 0 is equal to 2x squared, we will get the value of x. And the value of x is, of course, determining by dividing both sides by 2. So we have x squared. So it's x squared, so is square root natin. So x is equal to 0. So therefore, ang y is equal to 2x squared, that is x is equal to 0. The x-intercept is 0. At kita naman natin, kapag ganito po yung given, walang a, walang b, so therefore, 0 po lagi yan. Ano? Next example. So therefore, the x-intercept is equal to 0 or it is written as x is equal to, ayan, ganyan po, 0. Now, number 2. Y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 4. So how can we get the value of the x-intercept? So again, check muna natin sa b squared minus 4ac. Alamin natin, how many intercepts are we going to find? Substitute natin since a is 2, b is negative 4, and c is positive 4. I-substitute lang natin. b is negative 4 squared minus 4 times. Ang a natin is 2. Ang c natin ay positive 4. Substitute lang natin. Simplify lang natin. Negative 4 squared, that is positive 16. 4 times 2 times 4, that is 24. Okay, kasi 4 times 2 is 8 times 4, that is 24. And 16 minus 24 is negative 8. So, di ba, if we can get a value of the discriminant or the base squared minus 4ac as less than 0. Less than 0 siya kasi since the number is a negative number. Kapag po negative number yung ating discriminant, therefore, we have no x-intercept. Huwag na nating hanapin. No x-intercept yan. Or kung naaalala nyo, nung tinuruan ko kayo in how to solve quadratic equations. So, di ba? Kapag ang discriminant is a negative number, so therefore, we have no solution, no real root. So, therefore, here we have no x-intercept. Alright, let us try another. Y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. So again, let us determine first if how many intercepts are we going to find. So here, let us check by getting the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. Our a is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. Substitute lamang natin. So we have negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 3. Simplifying negative 2 squared, that is 4. Negative 4 times 1, negative 4 times negative 3, that is positive 12. Kasi negative times negative, kaya positive 12. 4 plus 12, that is 16. Since our b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, so therefore, we can have two distinct x-intercepts. So, dalawa. Ma'am, paano natin kukunin ang x-intercept? Tandaan, class. If our y is equal to 0, so di ba yun yung para makuha natin x-intercept? If y is equal to 0, so therefore, 0 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. What have you noticed? Yes, very good. If you notice, this is an example of a quadratic equation. If quadratic equation siya, so therefore, we can apply solving quadratic equation in solving for the value of x. Apply lang natin, yung pinag-aralan natin, yung apat na methods. So dito, in this case, I will use the factoring. Since nakikita ko, by just looking na ito ay factorable. Ang factors ng x are x times x. And then factors ng 3, negative 3 are 3 times 1. So, para makuha natin yung middle term, which is negative 2x, this should be negative and this should be positive. Negative siya, kaya magkaiba dapat ang sign. Negative 3 pa. Ma'am, paano nyo nalaman na doon dapat ang negative at dito ang positive? Class, kasi yung ating middle term is a negative. Negative 2x. So, therefore, dapat yung mas malaki ang value nandoon si negative. Para kukopyahin natin. So, di ba negative 3 times x is negative 3x? Positive 1 times x is positive x. Kapag pinag-minus natin, that will result to negative 2x. So, nire-recall ko lang sa inyo, ha? So again, after factoring, we will equate both into 0. We have x minus 3 is equal to 0. And the other one is x plus 1 is equal to 0. So here's solving for x. I-transpose lang natin to the other side. So that is x is equal to positive 3. And in this side, x is equal to, transpose natin positive 1. Kaya po siya naging negative 1. So therefore, the x-intercepts are 3 and negative 1, or x is equal to negative 1, 3. Ganyan po siya isulat. Alright? And for the last term, we have the y-intercept. Ang y-intercept, just like what we did in finding or identifying the x-intercept, we just need to let x be 0. We just need to set x as equal to 0. Then, we have to solve for y. Let us have this example. Y is equal to 2x squared. If our x is 0, so therefore substitute lang natin. Y is equal to 2x squared. Instead of writing x, write natin ang 0. So that is 2 times 0 squared. And 2 times 0 squared, that is equal to 2 times 0. 2 times 0 is 0. So therefore, y is equal to 0. And that's it. Our y-intercept is 0. Next example. Y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 4. When we let x be 0, then substituting lahat ito ng x ay gagawin natin 0. So that is 2 times 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 4. Ito 0 na. Ito din 0 na. Ano yung natira? Alright, so that is positive 4. So therefore, The y-intercept is equal to 4. Another, y is equal to 2x squared minus 2x minus 3. Just like what we did, let us set x with 0. So, substituting ang x natin dito, gagawin natin 0. Yan, 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 3. 0 na to, 0 na rin to. Ano natira? Yes, we have negative 3. So, therefore, the y-intercept is negative 3. Naunawaan ba? Okay, so yan na po lahat ng ating mga terms or parts ng ating graph ng quadratic function na kailangan nating malaman. Let us now talk about your learning task number 1. In your module, page 30, sabi dyan, you need to complete the table below using the given graph. So, let me show you. This is your given graph. And then you are looking for the domain, the range, the opening of the parabola, the vertex, the axis of symmetry, x-intercept, and y-intercept. So, atin lamang i-apply lahat ng ating natutunan from the previous slides, yung mga from the domain up to the y-intercept. Paano nga ba ito nakukuha? By just having this given graph. Ito lang yung alam natin. Kaya na ba natin yung kunin? Okay, let us try first the domain. Can we know or can we find the domain? Yes, sabi ko sa inyo, the domain is always all the set of real numbers or all set of real numbers, lagi po yung domain. How about the range? Alright, ang range natin, if you notice, we have the formula. Ito yon. All values of y such that y is greater than or equal to k. Bakit greater than or equal ang ginamit ko? Because our graph opens upward. If it opens upward, ibig sabihin, greater than or equal ang gagamitin. And what is the value of k? Alam na ba natin yung k? So here in our graph, if you notice, ang vertex natin is, yes, it lies on 0, negative 2. Tama ba? Ang x natin ay 0 and then the y value is negative 2. Yan. Ang vertex natin is 0 and 2, which means that this is the h and this is the k. Ang h natin ay 0, ang k natin is negative 2. So therefore, the range will be all values of y such that y is greater than or equal to, very good, that is the negative 2 since that is the value of k. Maliwanag? Alright, how about the opening of the parabola? So, kitang-kita naman natin sa graph that it opens. Correct. That it opens upward. So, di ba madali lang? How about the vertex? Ayan, given na. Ayan, nasabi ko na kanina, no? So, vertex is equal to 0, negative 2. How about the axis of symmetry? Ang axis of symmetry, again, recall natin, the axis of symmetry is the line or the imaginary line that passes through the vertex o yung nagdi-divide sa ating graph into two equal parts. Ito po yan, yung vertex, yung ating axis of symmetry, nagpa-pass through siya dyan. Now, ano yung axis of symmetry natin? Axis of symmetry, remember, recall nyo, x is equal to h. This is the equation of the line. When we say axis of symmetry, we are looking for the equation of the line of the axis of symmetry, and that is represented by x is equal to h, wherein, alam na natin ang h which is 0. So, x is equal to, correct, that is x is equal to 0. This is the axis of symmetry. How about the x-intercept? Correct. Since sa ating graph, kitang-kita natin dito yung dalawang points na nakalay sa x-axis natin, wherein, alam natin that, it lies in negative 2, 0. Okay, sulat ko ha para maano natin. Kita natin ito ay, medyo nahirapan lang akong isulat dito ha kasi I'm using only the mouse pad. Ano? So yeah, negative 2, 0. Kapag ang y natin is equal to 0, so therefore this is the x-axis. Negative 2, ayan o, negative 2. How about dito? So, di ba? This ordered pair is 2, 0. Okay? 2, 0 siya. Again, ang ating y coordinate is 0. Kapag ang y natin is 0, so therefore, this is the x-intercept. So therefore, ito yan. Yeah? So therefore, our x-intercept is equal to negative 2, 2. How about the y-intercept? Alright, ang y-intercept natin, paano natin malalaman? That is negative 2. So paano naman po nakuha that ang y-intercept natin is negative 2? Yan, tingnan nyo class. Di ba ito yung ating y-axis? Ang y-axis natin, we have point dito, which is the vertex 0, negative 2. If you notice, if x is 0, ang x dito ay 0, di ba? Ibig sabihin, if x is 0, ito yung y-intercept natin. So, y-intercept is equal to, y is equal to negative 2. Okay? Naunawaan ba? Okay, I hope naunawaan at nai-apply natin ang ating natutunan in our previous lesson. Alright? So, for your learning task number 2, discuss natin how can we solve this or how can we accomplish this task. Sabi dyan, you need to sketch the graph of the following. So, meron tayong given quadratic function. You need to sketch the graph. How? By giving give nyo muna yung domain and range of the following quadratic function defined by the given equation. After that, you also need to determine the direction where the parabola opens, its vertex, its axis of symmetry, and its x and y intercept. So, lahat ng ating concepts na hinanap kanina, ganun din, hahanapin din natin. But after that, you also have to sketch the graph. So, let us proceed with number 1. I'm going to show you the number 1 and number 4. Ano? So, here, y is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 4. How are we going to do this? Let's have our table. Ito yung mga hinahanap natin. The domain, range, the opening, or the directions of the parabola, its vertex, axis of symmetry, x-intercept, and y-intercept. In order to find the domain, ano ba muna pala ang una nating mahanap, diba? So, since alam naman natin yung domain, okay, pero importante malaman muna natin the vertex, ano? And how can we solve it in our quadratic function? Alright, so that is by having the formula of HK. The formula for our HK is, yes. Okay, so dito, opening of the parabola, kaya na natin siyang makuha, no? The opening of the parabola opens upward. How do we know that the parabola opens upward? Alright, so, diba, ang opening of the parabola ay depende sa value ng A. Kung ang value ng A is positive, then it opens upward. If the value of A is negative, then it opens downward. Since here, ang A natin is 1, positive 1, so, it opens upward. So, after that, let us find the vertex. Ang vertex natin is HK, which is solved by using the formula H is equal to negative B over 2A and K is equal to 4AC minus B squared all over 4A. So, dito, ang A natin is 1, B is positive 8, and C is positive 4. Substitute lang natin. So, that is negative times 8 all over 2 times 1. So, negative times 8, that is negative 8. 2 times 1, that is 2. Negative 8 divided by 2, we have negative 4. Then, for the value of K, substitute lang natin. We have 4 times AC. We have 4 times 1 times 4. Minus 8 squared all over 4 times 1. Simplifying, 4 times 1 times 4, that is 16. 8 squared, that is 64. All over 4 times 1, that is 4. And 16 minus 64 is equal to 48. 48 divided by 4, okay, we can solve it exactly. So, that is 12. So, ang HK natin is negative 4 and 12. So, therefore, that is the vertex. Ang vertex natin is negative 4 and 12. So, ngayon, ano na sunod natin gagawin? Alright, we can also find the axis of symmetry. Ang axis of symmetry natin is x equal to h. Ang h natin ay negative 4. Kasi nakuha na natin yung vertex. Pag nakuha na natin vertex, madali na hanapin yung the rest. Ano? Now, what else? Let us try the domain. Ang domain natin, as we all know, are all set of real numbers. How about the range? Range natin is represented by Depende kung siya ay opens upward or downward. So here, since it opens upward, kailangan we will use the formula or set of y such that y is greater than or equal to, yan, to k. At ang k natin is positive 12. So ito yon. Okay? So paano natin kunin? Alright. And how about the x-intercept and the y-intercept? Alright, so dito, let us find the x-intercept. X-intercept is, we can solve for x-intercept by letting y is be equal to 0. If y is equal to 0, so therefore we have 0 is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 4. So I think we will solve this quadratic equation na to. And I think it is not factorable kasi 4 ito tapos possible na maging 8. So, hindi siya factorable. Ano? So, we cannot use factoring. In that case, I will use quadratic formula. Naalala niyo pa ba yung quadratic formula? Hey, huwag kakalimutan na. Napaka-importante nito. So, dapat kahit pikit, alam natin. So, we have negative b, positive negative square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Substitute lang natin. Ang value ng a ay 1, value ng b ay positive 8, and value ng c ay positive 4. So, we have negative times 8, positive negative, 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4 all over 2 times 1. Negative times 8, we have negative 8. Then, positive negative square root of, anong 8 squared? 64. How about 4 times 1 times 4? That is 60. All over 2 times 1 is 2. 64 minus 16, isolve muna natin or simplify muna natin yung nasa loob. 64 minus 16, that is 48. Square root of 48, can we extract it perfectly? Alright, hindi. Kasi yung 48 is not a perfect square number. So therefore, when I say a perfect square number, dapat meron siyang isang number na pag minultiply sa sarili, 48 na sugot, at wala yun. Ano? Kung 7 times 7. Ano? 7 times 7 is 49. Pero dito 48. So, pero hindi ito exactly. So, how can we do this? Okay. So, pag ganito class, since i-discuss ko pa naman to sa ating simplifying radicals, ito po ay pwede siyang i-factor. Yung 48, i-factor natin siya in which ang isa ay perfect square number. And that is 16 times 3. Yung 16 is the perfect square number. 16 times 3 is equal to 48. Pinaghiwalay lang natin. Bakit, ma'am? That is para mas-simplify pa natin or para mas papaliit pa natin yung number. Yung 16 ay pwede na nating i-extract. What is the square root of 16? That is 4. Sabihin, pwede na siyang ilabas. Ano? So, that would become, kopyahin si negative 8, positive negative. Yung 16, instead of writing 16, isulat na natin yung square root niya, which is 4. Nasa labas na siya. Wala na siya sa loob ng square root kasi na-extract na natin. Ano na lang natin sa loob? That is 3. All over 2. So, ito na po yun. But, in this case, kita nyo, pwede pa siyang i-divide, di ba? 2 terms kasi siya. So, ayan. So, this is also equal to, alright. So, negative 4, positive negative, kasi 4 divided by 2, that is 2. Ito, negative 8 divided by 2, that is negative 4. 4 divided by 2, that is, alright, 2. 2 is square root of 3. So, therefore, ang x natin is equal to negative 4, positive negative is square root of, 2 is square root of 3. That is our x-intercept. Hindi kasi siya sakto, ano? So, pwedeng ito na isulat natin. Alright? How about our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is, yes, that is by letting x be equal to 0. If x is equal to 0, then our equation will become 0 squared plus 8 squared plus 4. Sinubstitute lang natin yung value ng x, which is 0. So, ito ay 0 na din, ang natira na lang ay 4. So, therefore, the y-intercept is equal to 4. Okay, maliwanag po? Alright, so natapos na natin. Nakuha na natin lahat ng missing terms. Alright, now, meron pa tayong isang task which is to sketch the graph. How are we going to sketch the graph? Alright, so we can sketch the graph by Of course, having our Cartesian plane. So, paano po yun? Simulan nyo sa vertex. Kuha lang kayo sa graphing paper. Sa graphing paper nyo to gawin ha para madali kayong makapag-graph. In your graphing paper, look for, syempre, hanapin nyo, gumawa muna kayo ng x-axis and y-axis. And then, labelan nyo ng number, 0, -1, -2. Pagdating dito ay +1, +2. Okay, ganun din dito. So, ito ang positive y, ito ang negative y. Now, start with your vertex. Ang vertex natin is -4, 12. So, ito yun, -4 and then 12. Alright? So, narito yung vertex natin. So, kailangan ganyan sa graph nyo, ha? Then, if this is -4 and -12, alam naman natin that it opens upward. Kaya po ganyan ang itsura niya. Ma'am, paano ko nalaman na ganyan kakipot or kaluwang yung ano? Okay lang naman, hindi ko naman directly papasukat sa inyo since it is yung ating x-intercept kasi ay, di ba ito yun? X-intercept ay hindi ganun ka-exact. So, okay lang. I will accept this. So, basta't makita ko lang the vertex and it opens, it should be open. It should opens upward. So, maliwanag ba? Okay. Let us proceed with your equation number 4. Let me show you also our equation number 4. So, y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. So, here, hanapin ulit natin ang mga terms na to. Domain range, opening. Okay, una-una. Since alam naman natin, di ba, positive 2 yung y natin. So, therefore, the opening of the parabola is correct. That opens upward. Huwag malilito ha. Depende to. Now, ang vertex natin, hanapin natin. So, again, kunin ulit natin ang h and k by having this formula. So, we have negative. Ang A natin is 2, ang B natin is -4, and C natin is -6. So, here, substituting, we have negative times -4 all over 2 times 2. Negative times -4, that is +4. 2 times 2, that is 4. 4 divided by 4, that is equal to 1. How about the K? K is, ayan, sinubstitute ko lang ha. Ito yung C, -6, -4 squared all over 4 times 2. 4 times 2, 8 times -6, that is -48. And how about -4 squared? That is 16. All over 4 times 2 is 8. -48 minus 16, we have -64 all over 8. At kapag dinivide natin yan, that is equivalent to -8. So therefore, HK is equal or the vertex is equal to 1, -8. Maliwanag po ba yan? So sana, Next is, anong pang sunod natin? Axis of symmetry. Kaya na ba? Equation of the line? Yes, kasi ang axis of symmetry natin ay x is equal to h. Alam na natin ang h, which is 1. So, x is equal to 1. How about the domain? Very good. Again, all set of real numbers. How about the range? Since it opens upward, gagamitin ulit natin ang greater than or equal. So, range is equal to all set of y such that y value is greater than or equal to -8. Kasi ito yung value ng k natin. Next is the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, let us y be 0. So, substitute natin. That is equal to 0 is equal to 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. This time, I think it is factorable. So, gamitin ko yung factoring. Ayan. Factors ng 2x squared, 2x times x. Factors ng 6, we have 2 times 3. Magsasatisfy ba siya sa ating middle term? 2x ito ay 6x. Yes, kapag pinag-minus, since negative to, di minus dapat. Nasaan dapat si negative? Alin ba mas malaki? 2x or 6x? Alright, so 6x. So, naririto dapat ang negative. So, therefore, this is positive and this is negative. Maliwanag po ba yung factoring na yan? Okay, so we have 2x plus 2. Equate natin to 0. And we have x minus 3 is equal to 0. May dalawa na tayong equation. Let us solve for x. Ito ay substitute natin sa positive 2 sa other side. That will become negative 2. 2x divided by, we have to divide it by 2. So the value of x is equal to negative 2 divided by 2, that is negative 1. How about this? X minus 3 is equal to 0. Alright, so we have x is equal to 3. So ang value pala natin ng x-intercepts are negative 1 and positive 3. Now let us find the value of the y-intercept. Y-intercept is by letting x be equal to 0. If we're going to substitute it to our equation, our function y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x minus 6, substitute lang natin yung x. Ayan. So, x na, 0 na to, 0 na to. Ang natin sa atin ay negative 6. So, therefore, our y-intercept, if x is 0, then y is negative 6. So, ito po yung ating y-intercept. Right? And lastly, let us show the sketch of our graph. That is by drawing the Cartesian plane, by creating the Cartesian plane, and then first thing to do is to plot the points of the vertex. The vertex lies in 1, negative 8. So, ito yun. 1, negative 8. Ayan. So, you just need to plot it. And then after that, ayan, since ang x-intercept natin lies exactly on negative 1, 3, pwede natin siyang ma-plot. Ang x ay negative 1, ito yon. And then, we have also negative, and we also have positive 3. So, ito po yung graph natin. Next is, ayan, so, ito na yung graph natin, ito yung points natin. Gagawa lang kayo ng smooth curve para ma-sketch yung ating graph. So, that's it. So, ganyan lang po ang pag-show or pag-sketch ng graph ng ating quadratic function. Ayan. So, we have negative 1, 0, yung ating x-intercept, as well as we have 3, 0. Okay? Maliwanag ba? And if we understood our discussion on your learning test number 2, it is your turn. Now, in your graphing paper, in your answer sheet, please do your item number 2 and item number 3. So, number 2, we have y is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 5. And for your number 3, we have y is equal to negative 3x squared plus 12x minus 7. Just like what we did, get the domain, the range, the opening of the parabola, the vertex, axis of symmetry, and the x and y intercept. After that, you have to sketch the graph. Alright? You also need to do your learning task number 3. You have to complete the tables below and graph on the same coordinate plane. You have also to analyze the relationship between the graphs. So, in this case, for your learning task number 3, apat na tables yung gagawin ninyo. Ano? So, ito yung tables na to. Domain, range, the opening of the parabola, the vertex, the axis of symmetry, x and y intercept. Isa-isa bawat equation. Ayan. So, just like kung ano yung nandoon sa inyong learning task number 3 sa inyong module, page 33. So, after that daw niyan ay you need to graph each, ha? Kada isa sa ating quadratic function, you need to graph it on the same coordinate plane. Sabihin, isa lamang yung coordinate plane. I-graph nyo doon lahat itong apat. Just make sure na makikita natin yung pagkakaiba or iba't ibang equation. Right? This is what I am talking about. Ito yung sinasabi ko, you have to show your graph into one coordinate plane. So, ganyan. Pag iba-ibahin nyo na lang yung kulay, ano, para malaman. Then, also include, kunyari, anong equation to? Is it the y is equal to negative 2x squared? Anong equation to? Lagyan nyo na lang ng label, no? Pero ganyan dapat ang magiging sura. On the same coordinate plane lamang dapat. Alright? So, good luck, class. I hope marami kayong natutunan in our discussion for today's lesson.
So thank you so much, my dear students, for being with me in this session. I hope you learned a lot. Again, this is me, your Mom Shay, your guide in learning Mathematics 9 during the modular distance learning. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much!